Closing is always easy when you're in Cardone U. We role play with Grant Cardone's team. They know just what to do. They're always there to support us. We couldn't ask for more. On our way in the right direction, we found what we're looking for. In FLC, in FLC. Closing is better with appointment setters. You'd better believe we're not a team but a family. We work together in harmony. We are devoted, on that you can quote me, in FLC.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the FLC Hangout where your freedom lifestyle begins. We are so excited to be back. Let's go. Another Sunday of knowledge, another Sunday of hanging out, chilling, getting to know each other better. And I am super excited for this topic because this is something that we personally face all the time, and we actually help a lot of our clients also who face this problem all of the time. So I'm really excited to be talking about it. Misty, enlighten us, please. What is the topic?
Hey guys, thank you, Jesse. So this topic is something, like you said, we come across every day, not only in our own lives, but also with our clients. We, excuse me, wow, we have to deal with this anyway. So it's time management, right? We've talked about this before. How can we get everything that we need to get done and want to be able to do in one day? Okay, first and foremost, we all have the same 24 hours. So let's deal with that first, right? Josie, I know before I get too into these details, I know that you are very big on your time management. You take very close watch of what you're doing and you schedule everything out, which in my mind is like the smartest way to go, because otherwise I forget things, I'm a human being and we all know Misty forgets things. It's okay. It's all right to do that, because then it comes back later and we're like, oh crap, I should have done that. Well, if you're writing it down and you're taking your time management, then that it can be avoided. So Josie, just kind of give us a little bit of insight into your brain and how that works and how the time management's working for you.
Oh my God, you're so right about like I take it really seriously because I don't know about you. Well, actually I do know you, but anyone watching or listening, don't know about you, but if it's not on a calendar or a to-do list of some sort, I just won't do it. And it's not even that I know I should do it, but I don't. I just will forget. And I think that's a big problem that people normally face, especially the people I've been speaking to recently. They're like, it's not that I don't want to do it, it's just I just forget. And I'm like, well, are you writing it down? So that's a really big thing that I love to do. My calendar, if you look at my calendar, everything is in there, like work, but also if I have a haircut appointment, if I'm meeting a friend, if I'm going to the cinema, every single thing I've put in there, because it gets really, what overwhelms people and what overwhelms me is knowing that I need to do all these things, but not knowing how, like, where to allocate what time and how long to allocate. If it's in a calendar, you can actually see it in front of your eyes, like it's tangible. This is how long I can do this. This is how long I can do this. And then once you want to add something in, or you want to give more priority to something, you can just change the amount of time and you can physically see your day, which makes it so much easier and so much less stressful and overwhelming. So I have Google Calendar. I put everything into there. So that's like my holy grail. I look at it every morning, see what I'm going to do. And that's what I really recommend everyone to do. Have some sort of written down plan. And by the way, what I also tell people is it doesn't have to stay the same. Mine changes probably like weekly because I make this bit longer, I add something here. Just start and you'll figure it out as you go. So yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that, you mentioned Google Calendar, and we recently found an app to help us keep track of everything and allocate the time and everything. And so don't rule out apps, guys. Kind of check out, figure out which one works best for you. We found one. We're just still kind of playing with it to see how it's going to work for us. But what I love about this app is that it goes into every detail. I mean, some of us, like, I'm not going to say everybody because some, most of us is kind of just an automatic routine now that we just don't even think about. It's just on autopilot. But there are some times that we get so busy or so focused on what we have to do it during the day, we forget to brush our teeth in the morning. Maybe we forget to shower. Maybe we forget to do this. I sometimes will end up at work in my slippers instead of my tennis shoes, which is not very professional. But I get so comfortable and so caught up in what I'm doing, I forget that I have to change what's on my feet. So this app will actually do that. And I actually saw a video the other day that said that in Japan, the train conductors, or the people who, work on the trains, obviously, they call out every little movement that they're going to make. They call it out. It's automatic. It's an automatic reflex now that they do that. And the reason they do that is because it makes it so not only are other people knowing what they're doing, but they're also not forgetting to do something, and especially safety, right? Because we want to be safe for everything. But they call everything out, and their accident and their reports of missing something or forgetting something is almost non-existent because they call it out everything they do. It's like the train conductors, I believe. I watched a movie the other day that from Japan, and it was the firefighters. They do the same thing, and I couldn't figure out, why is he calling out why he's putting his pants on? Why is he calling out his brushing his teeth or something, combing his hair? I didn't understand that. It makes sense. It's kind of silly, but it makes sense. And then we go into people, I don't want to I want to give you time to obviously say something too.
That's okay.
But we also go into, like we've talked about before, allocating your time. If you're doing tasks and you have a lot to do, we all have the same 24 hours. But if you take an hour alone, like Grant Cardone says, he has an hour, and he will break it down into 10 to 15 minute slots. So that's 4 to 6 slots in 1 hour, which means he can get 4 to 6 projects done in 1 hour. And then he said if he breaks it down to 3-minute slots, then he can get 20 different things done. Right? So break it down to 10 to 15-minute slots throughout your workday. And when you're focusing, and when it's in that 10 to 15-minute slot, you're completely and totally focused on that one project, that one thing you have to do, and then take a break and then do another one. So Josie?
Yes. Yes. So the 10 to 15-minute thing is so powerful because that really allows you to see that you can do so much more than you think you can. Like you said, if you split an hour into 10 minutes, you can do 6 things in an hour. When I feel like the people's mind will go straight to, okay, I'll do this for an hour, then I'll do this for an hour. But are you really doing that thing for an hour? Or are you doing it for 10 minutes, taking 10 minutes off, doing it for 10 minutes, taking 10 minutes off? By splitting your day into 10, 15 minutes, you stay on top of things. You don't get bored. You're actually doing your task for the 10 minutes, and then you take a couple minutes off, and then you do a task 10, 15 minutes, a couple minutes off. It's so much more efficient, and you can get so much more done than you think you can. And also back winding. What's it called? What's it called? Backtracking, whatever the word is. Yes. A little
going that way.
going
We're going back that way.
Going back a little bit to when you were talking about like showing up to work in your slippers or forgetting to brush your teeth. It's just really easy to do that, right? And I've found, especially when we're doing big events like a boot camp or something that we're doing, it's so easy to forget to brush your teeth, wake up on time, have breakfast, have lunch, like all these little things. So I also put that into my calendar, by the way. I also put breakfast, lunch, dinner, break, go for a walk, all these things. I don't always follow it 100%, to be honest, but it's there. It's reminding me because it's there. But something else I've been telling people recently is have a really strong morning routine, something that is a non-negotiable. And when we say non-negotiable, we mean you do it. You say you're going to do it, you stick to it, and you do it no matter what. Have a routine. Doesn't have to be very long, but something that you know you're going to do structured in the morning. Oh my God, it will make such a difference to the rest of your day. And I've also recently discovered to have a strong morning routine, you also need to have a really strong evening routine. Otherwise, you'll wake up all discombobulated in the morning. So that really helps me as well. And also, and I want to ask your opinion on this too. So Seb tells us a lot, do the hard things first, right? So whatever you find really difficult, do that first thing in the morning after your morning routine, but do that first. And then the rest of your day will seem so much easier. And I know you really want to push the hard things off until like later in the day when you feel ready, but really you're never going to feel ready. So just do the hard things first. I really like doing that. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. Because it not only when you do the hard things first, you like you said, you get that done, you get it over with, then you got this confidence, hey, I got it done. That's a weight lifted off my shoulders. Now I can focus on other things that are a little bit easier and I enjoy a little bit more. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Do the hardest things
Really?
first. Go ahead.
Sorry. I really like what you said about confidence actually, because the confidence in yourself that you can get things done makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
I for so long would say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and not do it. So I just lost confidence in myself. That's the worst thing that you can do. So sorry, I just had to say that because I love that you
No,
mentioned.
it's a good point because you do lose confidence in yourself and then you're like resistant to anything else.
Mm.
And then you get, I don't know about everybody else, but when I lose that confidence, I go like into depression. I immediately start bad talking myself, that horrible self-talk. And then that's not what we want. So let's do things first. Let's get the hardest stuff that we bring. And like Greg Cardone says, if it's something you don't want to do and you're really resisting, you need to do it. Just do it first, get it over with. That confidence boost, that knowing, hey, I did this and I can do this again, or I can do even more. That's
Sign of growth.
incredible. And that'll help set the rest of your day, like you said. Josie, I have a question for you. With everything new that we've been learning and we've been doing and implementing into our lives and into the business, and I know the past couple years we have had major growth. I mean, like major growth. It's nuts. We're not the same people. Have you found yourself eliminating things in your 24 hours to be able to get more in to that 24 hours, more productivity into that 24 hours? How does that work for you? Have you done stuff like that?
Good
I shouldn't have
question.
to say have you. I know you have, but how well has that worked for you?
Really good question. And yes, definitely. And like you said, if you look at us, like even a year ago, but also 2 years ago, we are so different now. And I bet in like a year, we're going to be so different again. And this
I know
goes for
it's
everyone.
exciting.
Yeah. And this goes for everyone, by the way. Like, look at yourself a year ago, look at yourself now. Like, there is growth there. That should give you massive confidence as well. But to answer your question, definitely. And the first and the biggest thing that comes to mind is actually um so I was at uni, right? When I first started in FLC, when I first started doing sales, I was in uni. I am now not in uni.
And
Who
it
has
looks good on you. It looks good on you not to be in uni. You look amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It feels amazing. But actually the biggest thing that I had to do was learning to say no to things that came up that wasn't aligned to my vision. So
Mhm.
being in uni, I was constantly surrounded by people like, hey, let's go to parties, hey, let's go out, hey, let's go to the pub, da, 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 da. And learning, I have a huge FOMO. Um, I'm okay to say no to things, but then once I see people doing things, I'm like, oh, I want to be there. So learning to be okay with being by yourself, and sometimes the self growth and becoming the best version of yourself can be quite lonely. So really learn to say no to things that aren't aligned to where you want to go. Is going to that event, is going to that party, is meeting that specific group of friends going to push you further towards who you want to be, or is it keeping you who you are right now? So actually that was a really big thing I learned in uni. I'm good at it now. It was hard, but saying no to that to spend more time with like the FLC family and more time on phone calls to people, training with the coaches we train with made a huge difference to the way my mind thinks today. So definitely, yeah, definitely that saying learning to say, okay, is this bringing me further to where who I want to be, or is it keeping me who I am, and making a choice on that. What about you?
Yeah, I find, yeah, I'm not in uni, currently. I have not been there in a long time. Um, but yeah, I find myself thinking of, okay, what are my time wasters? What do I waste time on? TikTok. TikTok, games on my cell phone, scrolling through Instagram and Facebook, even though I'm not paying attention to what's on there, I'm just kind of, going through the motions. Watching TV. I watch a lot of YouTube. So it's like, because I don't have like a cable or satellite. So I just watch YouTube. And so eliminating those things that are just like time wasters and then allocating that time back into the business or what I really want to do, then that is huge. I get so much more done. It's the productivity is much more, just a lot more. I can't think of a nice word.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, and then Grant Cardone mentioned this too, Josie, because I know we have a lot of clients that are like, I don't have time for this, I don't have the money. And he says it's never about the money. Anytime somebody says they don't want to buy something, their objection is never about the money or the product. It's about time. They either they either tell you they don't have time or they don't want to allocate, they don't want to eliminate things to add time. And was it you and I that were talking the other day, or was it somebody else? I think it was you and I were talking about if you have 24 hours in a day like everybody else does, doesn't matter what time zone you go to, it's still the same 24 hours. You don't gain time if you cross over time zones. So it's the same 24 hours. And if you have 24 hours and you have something else, say you wanted to get the FLC program, right? But it's going to take time and effort to get your stuff up and going really strong. So you have that freedom because you put it on automation and then you have the more time, the freedom after it's up and going really well. But you're like, I don't have time to do that. And then we're like, just take it at our video. The modules are very short modules. I think the longest is like 45 minutes, but even that you can break up into 15-minute sections, 10-15-minute sections.
Mhm.
And just like if you're at a meeting or have something else you're doing, just carve out a little 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and just do it. It won't take people think, oh, this is going to it's going to be this amount of time forever and the rest of my life. No, this is such a short moment in your life. And if you push through this moment and just do what you're wanting to do and just push through that, I don't have time, I'm super busy, kind of sacrifice a little bit, the payoff in the end is going to be so much quicker, so much more satisfying that you're going to be so happy you did it. And then you're going to be like, well, I always had the time. I just had needed to readjust how I was allocating my time during the day to get it done.
So true.
So, yeah.
So true. And like it's Grant Cardone also says, and I got this straight out of his book. So
I'm gonna buy that book.
it's
I'm so
amazing. Highly, highly, highly recommend.
the
But
10X rule.
yes, he also says it takes more effort to stay where you are than to push and make that time, make the effort to get to where you want to be. And
Mhm.
that took me the first time I heard it, because I heard him say it before I actually saw it in this book, and it hit me so much harder reading it again. That's why you can never hear something too many times. It will always hit you on a different level. That in the long run, it's going to cost you so much more effort, time, mental space to stay where you are than if you had just pushed a little bit each day to get to where you want to be, the freedom, financial, time, mental freedom.
Mhm.
So that's really important as well. And like you mentioned, when people are going for something that they want to do, and it's the money or it's the I don't want to do this. That also took me a little bit to understand too. Like it's never the money. It's like, what do you mean? Like it is because if people can't afford it, it's the money. But then I realized if people actually see and they realize that what they're doing, for example, the FLC course is going to produce the results they want to get, they will make the money. You will find you will find the money if you knew for sure and you had confidence in yourself and the product that it's going to at least double your investment, which by the way, that is at least, then you would find the money. You'd go ask friends, the bank, the get a loan, anything, go onto the street, ask people for change, you would do it. So that's that's what I've realized as well. And I also want to ask you, I know recently your production and your like the things you've been doing has like shot up and you are on a roll recently. So which big hoo-ha hoo. So I want to ask you what kind of and because I think this can really benefit a lot of people watching, a lot of, especially our clients we've been speaking to. What switched? Like what made you what made you realize that you can do this? And yeah, what switched to you're a completely different person now?
Well, for me, it was a couple of different things. I've always had that, throughout my life, I always had people tell me, "Oh, you're not smart enough. You can't do this. You're not talented, or that doesn't take talent. You're just not good enough for this. You're worthless, right?" But in the back of my mind, I've always known that is so wrong. That is just so wrong. But then overhearing it for so many years, you buy into that. And then hearing people say, don't buy into what people say. Listen, but don't buy into what they say. It's more about them than it is about you. And then going to remembering why I want to live out my dreams and being resold on that every day. And then being able to picture it like my Josie, our jet, I can feel it. I can taste it. I can it's right there. I know it's there. I know we're going to have that. I can feel everything. I can see how it's going to look. I know it's there. I know it's mine. I know it's ours. And so knowing that and remaining sold on that, like 100% completely sold on that, and then learning to eliminate things, like I said, the time wasters, learning to eliminate those. But what really got me is when I had the talk with Chivaria. I'm not going to go into detail about all the talk because not all that's important for this anyway. But what is important is what she said to me. And I think I've said this a couple of times in videos. What she said was she was upset with me because of the fact that I was not respecting myself to allow myself had to have what I deserve to have. Because we work so hard at doing, FLC and trying to be supportive and help other people. We don't give ourselves enough respect and enough time and effort. And for her to really say that I wasn't respecting myself really hit hard, because I've gone from, I mean, like bottom of the barrel, very low, to absolutely no self-respect at all, because I was so worried about giving to everybody else. I quit caring about myself completely. No respect. I mean, I've done things in my past I'm not proud of, and that's due to lack of self-respect. So I've worked really hard to get to where I'm at and the level of self-respect that I have. And I'm always looking to improve that. But when she said that I wasn't giving enough effort and putting enough action into doing the business and putting that time in, because I wasn't respecting myself to allow myself to have what I deserve to have, that hit really hard. That was like, wait a minute, I never considered this to be a self-respect thing. How does that work? How does that fit in? And it took me a little bit. It hit me when she said it, but it took me a little bit to process that, what she really meant. All of what really hit was she just said, you're not respecting yourself, and I can't accept that. So when I have Chubaria, I'm sorry, Chubaria is one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. She's willing to fight for me when I'm not, even if it's against myself, you know. So her saying that, and then me thinking, you know, really hashing out and thinking over, how does this make sense? How does it make sense? How is it a self-respect thing if I'm not putting enough action in? And then it dawned on me, I'm not allowing myself, like she said, I'm not allowing myself to have what I deserve and what I've worked hard for. Right? Because I'm not feeling like I deserve it, but I do. And that's what really clicked for me. It's like, okay, wait a minute. I have worked really hard to get the self-respect that I have. And now I'm disrespecting myself and not allowing myself to have something that I know is mine and I know I will have and I deserve it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
out the window. I'm done. That's it.
Yeah.
That was what did it for me. That's what clicked. You know, there's
It's
no
like,
more. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. No, thank you for sharing. And it's like, if you tell someone else you're going to do something, you do it, right? If you tell, like, you tell a friend or your parents or your boss, I'm going to get this done, you do everything. Well, hopefully you do everything in your power to get it done. But if you tell yourself, I'm going to do this, I'm going to hit my goals, it's so easy to just be like, oh, nah. But you need to be your biggest, first, your biggest supporter, your biggest accountability partner. And by not doing it, like you said, you're disrespecting yourself. It would be disrespect if you did that to anyone else. So
Mhm.
why is it okay to do it to yourself, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and I had become one of those people where I had always, because you guys have heard me say, "Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing this," and then I just completely back out. And I finally just I knew I was doing it, but it finally clicked in that this is what I was doing. That's not who I want to be. I want to be somebody who follows through with their word, and when they say something, that's what they do. And that's who I always thought I was. But then I realized, hey, this is the bad behavior from the past is still here. Let's change this. So yeah, that was really big. And I love it. I feel completely different. And
You
then,
same. You
yeah,
feel different to me too.
yeah. Well, and then since I've made that decision and I started doing, you know, taking more action and just like this huge weight's lifted off and I'm taking more action and doing more, I've seen more success. It's just flowing in. And like Chabaria said, you're not always gonna, it's not gonna be easy. It's not always gonna come in like really easily. But the more action you take, the more faith and sold you are in yourself, the easier it's gonna get. And the more
Mm.
success is gonna come in.
It's like the quote that Chabaria says, that is a quote from Grant Cardone. Um, Once you commit 100%, results will show instantly. And if results
Yeah,
aren't showing, it simply means you haven't committed 100% yet, right? Like you
yeah,
said, it was the day And I've had it too. It's the day you decide I'm doing this, you see success straight away. So you just need to take that first action.
Yeah, what was it like? Close 3 deals in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for what's to come because we have some really big plans. I mean, I'm gonna drag you along kicking and screaming. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't have to drag me anywhere. I'm there.
Yeah, so we've got some really big plans. Things are just getting better from here. And and it all goes back to allocating our time properly too. Because with everything that we want to get done, I can sit here and name off a ton of different things I do during the day and other things I want to do. But if I don't allocate my time properly, I'm not going to get all that done. Right? So let's eliminate the time wasters. Yeah. And add more time to and focus more, because like what you really want to do is not just eliminate the time wasters, but when you're allocating the 10 to 15 minute slots, really, really focus on that one thing. Don't allow distractions and focus on that. And you're going to see the difference and the productivity that's going to come out of that. Do you have
100%.
any more to add before we wrap up?
Oh gosh, this was such a fun, powerful episode. I think just to sum everything up, I know we started on time management and got here, but it all relates, right? It's just realizing you can do so much more than you're doing if you have a structure, some sort of structure to your day. If the 10 to 15 minute thing works for you, try it out. Have a calendar if you don't have a calendar. Write things in your notes that you need to get done if you're not doing that. And realize that it's the only person that can get you to where you want to be is you. So if you keep making excuses for yourself for not doing things or not being able to make the time and not being able to do this and not being able to do this, then you're just not going to do it, right? And you say this a lot, actually. Your dreams aren't just going to come knock on your door and show up. You have to get yourself there. So, and in order to do that, you need to respect yourself enough to keep your promises. And I promise you, it's not as hard as it seems. Being disciplined, being motivated, keeping to your word, it's really, once it becomes a habit, it's really not as hard as it seems. So just push through the first initial toughness of it, and you're going to be so much more free. So yeah, that's what I want to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's being sold every day on what you're wanting, why you're doing things, and just, being very self-aware. You have to be very self-aware of what you're doing, how you're spending your time, and whether or not it's going to benefit you, what you're doing. Is it going to benefit you towards the goal you're wanting to achieve, or is it taking that away? So guys, we thank you so much for spending the time with us today. We hope that you found this discussion informative and engaging. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to our channel and leaving a comment with your thoughts and future suggestions and topics. We value your feedback and we would love to hear your hear from you. And then also don't forget to hit the subscribe, the like, and the share button. Get this out to anybody that you think may benefit from this. We really want to get this channel out to as many people as possible because we really want to help as many people as possible reach their freedom lifestyle, which is very important. Everybody deserves it, right? So we'll be back with another episode next Sunday. So stay tuned, keep learning. And from all of us here at the FLC, welcome to the family, where once you're family for life. See you guys later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Mwah.